Hello, everyone. My name is Amy, and I enjoy gaming. And welcome to this very special episode. Uh, don't really have a name for this series or anything fancy like that. Usually, when I play ESO, it's with background gaming, which is with our wonderful little Blorbo here. But we'll be playing through the new expansion, High Isles, and she's not quite ready for that yet. So we're going to be going with my main here. She's a Nord Templar healer, and she is very much ready for this adventure. Now I will let you know, I know next to nothing about the expansion. I know it deals with the Bretons, it doesn't deal with Daedra, and there's a knockoff Gwent. That is the extent of my knowledge. I kind of purposely avoided all of that stuff. I find I enjoy games better if I don't follow the hype for them. But let's go ahead and get logged in here. I'm honestly surprised I didn't have a queue. So that's neat. Hopefully that's maybe is somehow related to the servers being down all day yesterday. I wanted to do the initial recording and, get the first episode up today, but that didn't really play out like I wanted. There we go. Okay, let's get through here.
Hey, over here.
Yes, I haven't even done the prologue quest. I waited for this first. So let's talk to our friend Jakarn here, looking sharp in his new outfit.
Hey there, good looking. It's been a long time, hasn't it? I've missed our adventures, and I'm sure the feeling is mutual. Lucky for you, I have one. It involves a secret mission. My missing lady love and a mystery. What do you say? Want in? Ah, that part comes later. The darling Valencia has disappeared. So, that takes precedence. I was hired by Lady Arabelle to pick up some medallions from Valencia. But when I got to her workshop, I found the place ransacked, and she was gone. People in my line of work tend to acquire various contacts. I put the word out, and finally got one of mine to bite. I'm off to meet up with Taraska now. So, want to help me find Valencia and talk to my contact? You'll be paid, naturally. Here's the location where my contact Taraska wants to meet. I hired a wagon to take us there. Hope you don't mind being in close quarters for a bit, my good-looking friend. Hop in, and we'll be on our way. Valencia crafted them from a master medallion. Lady Arabelle says they're crucial to the success of our mission, but I stopped listening when I realized they weren't worth any gold. They're invitations of some sort, but she didn't tell me what for. Not really. My first job for Lady Arabelle was to track down the Master Medallion, the template used to make the others. I don't know the finer details, or care to. I was supposed to get the medallions from Valencia, but they were missing too. I asked the same thing. Lady Arabelle said, and I quote, "Don't be foolish, dear." She really knows how to wound with her words. It has something to do with Valencia's enchantments. They permit the wearers to enter a protected location.
Because nothing's ever gone wrong with that.
Valencia's a gorgeous young wizard making a name for herself in the Mages Guild. I've only met her twice, but she's wild for me. She probably stays up every night dreaming of this handsome face. I have that effect on people, you know. Exactly. First at one of those stuffy Society of the Steadfast events that Lady Arabelle forced me to attend. And then I saw her again after I recovered the Master Medallion and delivered it to her workshop. All that matters is that we find her. Some philanthropic organization that Lady Arabelle works for. They provide aid to those displaced or wounded by the ongoing war in Cyrodiil, among other charitable works. Now, can we go find Valencia, please? Did you miss me, good looking? I can't say I blame you. Most people find it hard to go long periods of time without gazing upon this impressive visage. I've been doing odd jobs, making myself available wherever they need a handsome face. Plenty, but you'd never believe most of them. My memories of our adventures together always make me smile, though. You're a great companion, and easy on the eyes to boot. Daraska, you're looking well, you old cat.
Save it, Jakar.
You haven't changed a bit. Friend, go ahead and speak with him.
Jakarm was wise to bring another. He will surely use you as an excuse to weasel out of the gold he owes this one. Taraska is glad to have someone to speak with other than that smooth skin. This one has information for you about his friend. Taraska's associates learned of a group transporting a high elf prisoner. While following them, this one realized the group was the Ascendant Order. Oh, you have not heard of them. They are a group that opposes the Three Banners War. Their methods of protest are usually non-violent, so this one finds it odd that they would be associated with a kidnapping. But this is not Taraska's affair. Inside there, Taraska followed long enough to watch them disappear through an opening covered by vines. They did not come back out. This one left something there to show you the way. Taraska left a lantern at the entrance where this one saw the Ascendant Order take Jakarn's friend. You cannot miss it. Be sure not to let Jakarn die. He owes Taraska a great deal of gold, and this one intends to collect at some point. The less Taraska talks about that, the better. This one has known Jakarn a long time and has suffered his flippant attitude from the beginning. He is a thief, with a silver tongue and a charming smile. There is no combination that is more obnoxious. Taraska is no hero. Jakarn asked for information, and this one has provided. And now, that unclawed idiot owes Taraska even more.
Thanks for talking to Taraska. He's as cranky as ever. Anyway, the prisoner he mentioned must be the lovely Valencia. We need to rescue her. Come on, let's get inside and find Valencia and her kidnappers. I should have expected that. I ran into them during my first job for Lady Arabelle. They got their hands on the Master Medallion before I stole it back. Makes sense they'd go after the others. But why take Valencia? That's not their style. Theories aren't part of my repertoire, but I can smell trouble when it's brewing. The Ascendant Order is planning something big, and I don't like it. Come on, let's find Valencia. More rescuing, less speculating. Ugh, stinks in here. This is no place for the lovely Valencia. We need to find her. The Ascendant Order must have a hideout in here somewhere. Taraska said he left a lantern at the entrance, right? Let's look around for any signs of Valencia. Could be anything, really. Just keep your eyes open, and deal with anything that wants to stab, burn, or eat us. Remember, Taraska said he left a lantern by a cave opening covered in vines. You've got this, but I'm here if you need me.
It's always good to have a companion for moral support, I guess. speaking of companions, what happened to mine? Oh. I somehow pissed off the mud crab. There we go.
Mom and Dad gave their best.
That looks like a piece of Valesia's robes. She always did look great in that color. Come on, we must be close. Looks like there was a scuffle here. Smaller footprints could be Valesia's.
Maybe I should have joined the buoyant armigers.
Ascendant champion, huh? I don't like the sound of that. Look, there must be Tarazka's lantern. I think we found our entrance. Valesia must be inside here. Let's go. Valesia, your dashing hero is here to rescue you.
I guess this is a fight now.
That was Valesia. This way. Don't worry, Valesia. I'm sure you're overwhelmed by the sight of me. Just a moment, and I'll untie you.
Jakan? Lady Arabelle's assistant? How did you find me? I didn't think anyone would find me in here. Least of all Jakan, but I am thankful to you both. The invitation medallions. Jakan was supposed to pick them up for Lady Arabelle, but the Ascendant Order stole them. We have to get them back. I just finished the invitation medallions for Lady Arabelle when the Ascendant Order burst into my workshop. They kidnapped me, took the medallions, tied me up, and left me here. They never even asked any questions. I don't understand it. I don't know for sure, but the group split up when we arrived. A few dragged me in here while the others went off deeper into the cave. They must have taken the medallions that way. There are 5 medallions total. Please, you must find them. Give me a moment, and I'll help you look for the medallions. It's extremely important that we get them back. Those Ascendant Order thugs must have taken them further into the cave. I'm not really supposed to say. I'd rather let Lady Arabelle give you the details. What I can tell you is that the medallions are invitations. I enchanted them to allow the wearer's entry to a secret location at Lady Arabelle's request. No, they barely acknowledged my presence, despite the fact that they kidnapped me, and believe me, I was persistent. I don't know how they found out about the medallions in the first place, but their Ascendant champion seemed very well informed. Just that she was clearly in charge of this operation. All of the so-called knights that manhandled me acquiesced to her every command. She went off deeper into the cave with the group that I presume took the medallions. We met a couple of times. He wouldn't have been memorable at all if he had not been so determined to get my attention. His advances were harmless, of course, but quite persistent. Still, I'm not sad to see him. I am grateful for the rescue. Does he now? I'm not surprised. Jakan is the kind of person who thinks everyone is enchanted by every breath he takes. And I'm sure some are. I'm just not one of them. He's amusing at least, just shy of insufferable.
I have to say, I
Thank
like
you for
the
coming to
outfits
my
I've seen
aid,
so
Jakan.
far.
My darling Valencia, the glowing adoration in your eyes as you gaze upon me is more than thanks enough.
I take it back. Where's the Ascendant Order? I want to be recaptured.
There you are, good looking. Did you find the medallions? Let Valencia know.
Ugh, I can't wait to get out of this place. The Ascendant Order has a lot to answer for. Please, tell me you found the medallions. Let me see. Oh, there's that Ascendant champion again. Lady Arabelle will want to hear about this. But I know this place, Saraloth Grotto. It's in Vardenfell, but they neglected to say exactly where inside the grotto they took the medallions. I think I have something that may help with that. Here, take this shell. It's not just a shell. I enchanted it with the same magic I used on the medallions. If you focus on the shell, the medallions will glow for a short time. Here, I'll mark the grotto on your map, and the boats mentioned in the scroll should be nearby.
Sorry, I got a little... that's a giant-ass mud crab. I have to kill it. Okay. I don't know why I had to kill it, but when you see a mud crab that big, can you not? Well, my curiosity was satiated. We shall continue.
Should fetch a fair fetching price.
Mind your step. Don't get caught in the muck. I almost lost a boot over there. Welcome to the arse end of nowhere. This is the place Valencia described to me. The entrance to Saraloth Grotto. The 5 medallions must be somewhere inside. Let's hurry and get them back. You still have that shell Valencia gave you, right? Good. That will help us find the medallions once we get inside. Valencia said if you concentrate on it, the medallions will glow. I suspect the Ascendant Order won't make this easy for us. The bad guys never do. No way to tell. But if we meet the Ascendant Champion, I owe her for tying up the beautiful Valencia. There's no call for that sort of rough stuff unless all parties agree. Anyway, remember, our priority is retrieving those 5 medallions. Use the shell and see if a medallion is nearby. See something over there? Valencia is as brilliant as she is beautiful. The shell works. Now, let's find the rest.
Off with you, Switch!
There's the sneaky bastard. You can handle this, right? Use the shell again, and keep your eyes peeled for anything. See something over there. Use the shell again. There might be something here. There's one.
That was a bit of a warm-up.
Watch your back. Go get him.
I really don't like your odds.
You got this. I'm here if you need me. That's all 5 medallions. Come on. I think I saw a way out of here. We recovered all 5 medallions. And we got to witness a surprise appearance by the mysterious Ascendant champion we've been hearing so much about. Lucky us. A job well done, if I do say so myself. Now we get these medallions to Lady Arabelle. Can't wait to introduce you. She's quite remarkable. A former Lion Guard officer, spy, agent for High King Emmerich, and world-famous author. But, don't mention that last part. Oh, she doesn't like to brag. In fact, she'll adamantly deny it if you ask. But she writes those wonderful Investigator Vale novels. At least that's the word on the street. Anyway, we should get going before more of the Ascendant Order shows up. I'll mark the location of her camp on your map. It's safer if we split up, so I'll meet you there. You hang on to the medallions for now. Pains me to admit it, but I think you can protect them better than I can. I'm more of a lover than a fighter. See you at Lady Arabelle's camp.
Off we go!
I don't know why I was running. I have a mount for this sort of thing. I wonder why the prologue is taking place in Vardenfell, though. Like, why? What made the writers think to place it here and not,
Over here, good looking. Lady Arabelle? This is the one who helped me recover the medallion.
in the Covenant territories?
Ah, so you're the darling Jakan was just telling me about. The one who helped him complete the mission I specifically told him not to bungle. Thank you for rescuing Valencia. I prefer that no harm comes to my associates, especially the lovely ones. So Jakan mentioned, well done. I'm not sure how the Ascendant Order ascertained our plans, but at least you recovered the invitation medallions. They're the key, after all. Figuratively and literally. Oh, that's good. I should write that down.
So, something I find amusing is that whenever a character is like an author or a writer, they'll say something and just immediately be like, I should write that down. She's doing it, Vivek does it, and you hear it in a few other places as well. People don't talk like that. Anyways, that's just my little side thought when I heard that.
I suppose you've earned that information. The Society of the Steadfast has decided to sponsor peace talks to end the Three Banners War. The medallions will allow the chosen delegates to enter the hidden location where the talks will be held. That, my dear, is precisely what I plan to figure out. These talks are too important to allow anything to interfere with them. We must determine what the Ascendant Order wants, and we must do so quickly. But first, may I have the medallions? Ah, aren't they beautiful? One for each delegation invited to the peace talks. And this is for you. Take it with my thanks. And know that the Society of the Steadfast coffers are very deep. You'll be paid very well for your continued assistance. Now that we've recovered the medallions, it's time to deliver them to the various delegations. You know about the peace talks and the stakes we're facing. Are you willing to help us finish this, despite the threat posed by the Ascendant Order? I need someone trustworthy to deliver the invitation medallions. Jakan and I will deliver medallions to the Alliance leaders so they can assign them to their chosen delegates. I'd like you to deliver the ones for the Fighters and Mages guilds. The guilds are respected and influential in their own right. They deserve to be part of these negotiations. Here, 2 medallions. And look, Archmagister Delric has just arrived. You can deliver the Mages Guild medallion to him first. Please be careful with those medallions, dear. It took a great deal of resources to craft them, and we don't have time to make any more. Deliver one to Archmagister Delric, and then make haste to the Fighters Guild Hall in your capital. Oh, did he now? And what other secrets has he revealed, I wonder? Well, let me sate your curiosity. I've been many things in my long career. Mercenary, Lion Guard officer, spy, and agent of the High King, to name a few. I have many talents, my dear. Never believe what you read in the chronicles. Do these look like ink-stained fingers of a scrivener to you? I am rather fond of the bawdy investigator and her exploits, though. They remind me of my younger, carefree days of adventure. Why don't we set this aside for now? We both have places to be, and time is short. If you want to discuss rumors and innuendos, we can talk later. Perhaps over a meal and an expensive bottle of wine. For now, just deliver your medallions, dear.
I'll create portals for you and Jakan, Lady Arabelle.
I apologize for my tardiness, but the work of an Archmagister never ends. I saw Lady Arabelle leave. Pity. I was hoping to speak with her. Anyway, the Mages Guild decided I would represent them in the upcoming peace talks. You have my invitation? Ah, yes. Remarkable craftsmanship. Valencia has come a long way since she was my apprentice. I created the master. It was no small feat. Intricate work, making enchantments of such power. Once I slip the chain over my head, the medallion will be linked to me until the peace talks are concluded. And is that second medallion for the Fighters Guild? No, I suggest you get it to them as soon as you can. Let me just slip this on and...
Oh, well. That's no good.
Archmagister Delric! He's dead! He just put the medallion around his neck and it jolted him with arcane energy. Oh, how could this happen? My work was perfectly safe. You don't think... Oh no. Quick, give me the Fighters Guild medallion. I should have examined the medallions more closely after you recovered them. Someone has altered the enchantment, trapped them to release a killing spell when worn. It had to be the Ascendant Order, and they left them for you to find. Oh no. Don't you see? The Ascendant Order altered the medallions. They wanted us to recover them, and now Jakan and Lady Arabelle are on their way to deliver them. They must be stopped before the other medallions are activated and the delegates are killed. Take this medallion and place it on my work table in the camp. I'll create a dispelling powder that you can use to eliminate the danger and return the medallions to their original state. Meanwhile, I'll gather Delric so I can cleanse it as well.
So either... So either she's being legit and the Ascendant Order tampered with the things, or they were always supposed to be this way, and it's all a conspiracy.
These reagents will form a powder that you can use to dispel the deadly enchantment. There. That powder will do the job. Just sprinkle a pinch over each of the Alliance medallions, and it will return them to their original state. Only the protective magic of the invitations will remain. Chase down Jakan and use the dispelling powder on his 2 medallions before any more of the delegates are killed. Meanwhile, I'll restore the guild medallions and contact Lady Arabelle. Yes, my portal sent him to Windhelm to deliver the Ebonheart Pack's invitation medallion to Yoren the Skald King. He's probably on his way to the Palace of Kings right now. Take the pouch of powder from the table, and I'll open the portal for you. This portal will take you to Windhelm. Find Jakan and use the powder on the medallions before anyone else is killed.
Oh, hi there.
You've got some.
Hold there. State your business in the Palace of Kings. Oh, I recognize you. You're the hero of Windhelm. Thane Mara speaks about you a great deal. What brings you back to these parts, friend? Ah, from the Society of the Steadfast, right? Are you an associate of his? Well, you just missed him. He delivered a medallion for the Skald King and then went on his way. Your associate said the medallion was a gift from the Society of the Steadfast. Why would it pose a danger? I placed it in the study. I planned to present it to Yoren once I had time to assess it. I recognize you. You helped Windhelm and the Skald King before, so I'll trust you in this matter. Come with me. I'll show you to the medallion. Is it done? Is the medallion safe? I'm not well versed in the ways of magic, so forgive my skepticism. But how can you be certain a medallion is no longer dangerous? I refuse to hand the Skull King something I'm not absolutely sure is safe. I believe you, but I think I'll still have our court mages take a look all the same. I thank you for the timely warning. Is your associate aware of the danger? He seemed eager to make his next delivery. He said he was traveling to Auradon to meet with someone from Queen Erin's court. You might check the docks in Skywatch. If he intends to deliver another one of these medallions, you should hurry and intercept him. We may be at war with Queen Erin, but there's no honor in killing an enemy in this despicable manner. A boat's available at our docks if you need it. And I'll make sure the Skull King receives this medallion from the Society of the Steadfast.
What?
Am I drunk? Or is it me?
I appreciate your dedication to this uptight, surly demeanor. But I'm just here to deliver a medallion to Queen Erin.
Be that as it may, a ruffian like you will not be allowed anywhere near our queen. I shall examine this medallion myself.
Hey, good looking. I wasn't expecting to see you again so soon. Oh, and I wasn't giving this fine seneschal a hard time. I was just building a trusting rapport. Anyway, I delivered the Aldmeri Dominion medallion. We can be on our way. What? Seriously? I'm glad I decided not to try on the medallions on my way here. Hey, I already delivered the Ebonheart Pact medallion. We have to get back to Windhelm. I am not willing to add regicide to my growing list of bounties. Oh, good. Maybe start with that next time? Anyway, if you can dispel the evil magic, then don't let me keep you. You can fill me in on the details later. Just hurry before that pompous bureaucrat decides to try on the medallion.
Did you say evil magic? Dispel it! Dispel it this instant!
My friends, I need your help. Oh good, I'm glad I found you. Something's wrong. The Ascendant Order attacked me. I managed to fight them off, but now I can't contact Lady Arabelle. I think she's in danger, and she still doesn't know about the altered medallion she's carrying. We have a way to stay in contact, but she isn't answering my sendings. I was able to trace the magic of my medallion, and it's headed toward an island off the coast of Daggerfall. Somehow, the Ascendant Order realized that we dispelled their magic. Because they came after me just before I delivered the restored medallion to the Fighters Guild. I think they may also be after Lady Arabelle, and I can't seem to open a portal to her location. That's very worrying to me. Sword's Rest is an island off the coast of Daggerfall. High King Emmerich uses it as a retreat. It makes perfect sense for her to meet him there. I need you and Shakan to find a ship on the Skywatch docks and get to Sword's Rest as quickly as you can.
The medallion's safe now. Please make sure you get it to the Queen. Hey, good looking. I'll meet you at the docks. Let's take this one. The quarters will be close, but I'm a fair hand with an oar. Be there in no time.
So you want us to row from Somerset Isles all the way up? Okay, well, you know what? You're rowing the entire way.
Let's take this one. No one to greet us. I don't like this. Keep your guard up, good looking. Those are members of the Lion Guard. What happened here? Let's look around. The Ascendant Order must have overwhelmed them. The Lion Guard are no slouches. You can handle this, right? Definitely the Ascendant Order. Damn. I can't believe they're really trying to kill High King Emmerich. Come on, we have to get inside.
I am curious. Where... I wanted to see if I showed up on the map at all. I wanted to know exactly how far they had to row.
I'll watch your back. Go get him.
Oh.
They're coming for us.
Hold on, I have a little kitten
Listen,
that's being a little
I hear
ass.
someone up ahead.
Have you breached High King Emmerich's quarters yet?
Soon, my lord. We are almost through the wards.
I will suffer no more delays. You have this last chance, champion.
Yes, Magus.
Just how many people are in charge of the Ascendant Order? You got this. But I'm here if you need me. I'll watch your get him.
In a big family, you have to know how to scrap.
She still eludes us, Necklace, but there are only so many places she can hide.
Deal with Emmerich, then find a way to her.
It will be done, my lord.
Sounds like they haven't found Lady Arabelle yet. Come on, let's get to her first. You can handle this, right?
Would it kill them to run away?
There you
Well,
are.
no, I guess
Your
it
timing
wouldn't.
is impeccable.
Maybe they should try that.
I'm not sure what the Ascendant Order is doing here, but they seem determined to eliminate me and Emmerich. I've been able to avoid most of their forces, and the few I couldn't, well, they hardly posed any trouble. How did you know where to find me? I hoped Valencia would sense our trouble. When the Ascendant Champion and her forces arrived by ship, they brought a powerful mage with them. Most of the island's defenses were rendered useless by his magic. But what was it about the medallions? A dispelling powder. Very clever. Sorry to hear about poor Derek, but I assume you took care of the other medallions? Good. Last I checked, Emmerich was safe in his private quarters. The wards there are still in place, but they won't hold forever. With a plan, my dear. Head up to the courtyard and confront the Ascendant Champion. In the meantime, Jakan and I will make our way around the back and surprise her mage from behind. Excellent. And I'll sprinkle this powder on the medallion along the way. Remember, we must stop the Ascendant Champion. If High King Emmerich dies, any chance to proceed with the peace talks will be lost. We can't allow that to happen.
We're almost through the wards, champion.
Take this, you coward! Look out!
I will take care of this. You dare challenge me? Fine. Step forward and die! You try my patience.
Aid me!
The enemy is this way. I think they're getting flustered.
You can't defeat this.
Will got you!
Beck, I hope you're watching. Hey, stick with me. Probably shouldn't have that. That one put up a fight, didn't
My
they?
face.
Good work, my dear. How exciting. Well, nothing warms the blood like a bit of a scuffle, wouldn't you say? That mage underestimated me, the poor dear. It's over now, at least. All that's left is to deal with this medallion and get it to High King Emmerich. I've been a little busy, dear. Now go outside, get on your boat, and return to camp. I'll meet you there. I need to dispel the medallion. Then we'll Situations like this tend to stress out the High King. I can help him with that. I have before.
What do you mean by that? Oh, well. He is now a married man, though, you know. Now you want me to row from the Covenant to Vardenfell. Miri, it's your turn.
Lady Arabelle, are you sure you're not injured? Everything happened so fast at the keep.
Enough, Jakan. I've been dealing with worse villains since before you were born. Things took a few unexpected turns, but we delivered the medallions and the peace talks can proceed as planned. I wonder who the Alliance leaders will send as their delegates. I haven't seen Rigard the Brash in quite some time.
I would love it if he would go.
Oh, not for a while yet. We're still preparing the secure site on High Isle. But if the Ascendant Order strikes again, I know who to contact. You really are quite remarkable, my dear. And this is for you. Compliments of the Society of the Steadfast. Oh, such an interesting adventure, don't you think? I must write down the pertinent details. Wouldn't want to forget a moment. And don't fret. I'll make sure to send for you when the situation on High Isle escalates. You're too good not to call on again. Never heard of High Isle? I'm not surprised. It's sort of a getaway spot for nobles and royalty. It's the largest island in the Sisters Archipelago in the Abetian Sea. Technically, it's a Breton territory, but most treat it as neutral ground. Yes, my dear. It's really quite beautiful. I have a manor there for those brief periods when I'm not working on one thing or another. The Society of the Steadfast selected it specifically for the peace talks. I can't wait for them to get underway.
So her mouth doesn't match her words. And now that I've noticed it, I will never... You all have to suffer with me, because now it's the only thing you're going to notice as well.
Oh, not that again. You don't realize how tedious that question has become. And all because of a nosy chronicler and her unfounded accusations. Listen, my dear. You and I will get along much better if you never ask me about Investigator Vale again.
Oh, well, she did well that time. Okay. So now we just need to wait to hear from her. Or do we... Let's see.
Please, I need to.
Even though Vivek City isn't quite the size it is in Morrowind, I still get hopelessly lost. Okay. So where... Oh, is it this? Neat. There we go.
Over here, good looking. Well, aren't you a sight for sore eyes? Remember that bit of trouble we had with the stolen medallions? Looks like we got a new problem now. We could use your help again. Lady Arabelle will be happy to see you too, I'm sure. Turns out, the peace talks we were delivering those invitation medallions for is taking place right here on High Isle. Unfortunately, there's a new problem. Lady Arabelle can tell you all about it. Assuming you're interested in helping us again. Same as last time, gold and my undying gratitude. Plus, it'll help me work off my debt to Lady Arabelle. So what do you say, my friend? Ready to assist your best partner and favorite ally again? For old time's sake?
My dockhands are watching for your cargo, Lady Arabelle. They know it's precious.
There was a storm off the coast. Perhaps it delayed the ships.
Forgive me if I do the job you hired me for, Lord Baccaro. Ah, a familiar face. I could use your help, adventurer. So good to see you again, my dear. Remember that little predicament we dealt with not too long ago? Well, now I have a related but larger problem, so let me tell you about my proposition. It pays exceedingly well, I assure you. Care to hear more? Oh, nothing tawdry, my dear. We'll be too busy for romantic shenanigans before long, I expect. Some precious cargo was supposed to sail in on the morning tide, but it never arrived. I need someone not known around the island to be my eyes and ears. While tales of my exploits credit me with all sorts of talents, I can't be in more than one place at a time. I could use a fresh face to mingle with the locals, determine if anyone knows anything about my 3 missing ships and their cargo. Lord Baccaro's conference can't proceed without that cargo. Here's what I need you to do. Check the inn, the lighthouse, and the Lockabane shallows. See if anyone knows or saw anything. Then meet me outside the north gate to compare notes. Certainly. Since you're new to High Isle, I understand you may not be as familiar with the local area as I am. What do you wish to know? Gonfalon Head Lighthouse, blessed by Kinnereth herself, stands atop the hill just west of town. It offers an excellent vantage from which to watch the nearby waters. Perhaps the lighthouse keeper saw something that will help. Possibly. When ships fail to make port, it's only natural to wonder if they were damaged or blown off course by a storm. The lighthouse keeper has a perfect view of the approach to Gonfalon Bay. If my ships were out there, she might have seen them. The currents of Lockabane are strong. Flotsam from the open sea often washes up along the shores of the waterway. Some of High Isle's poorer folk comb the beach looking for salvage. Let's hope they haven't found any today. The ancient Anchor Inn sits just up the street near the city gate. It's one of the more popular places on the island. In my experience, inns are an excellent location to pick up rumors. Wherever you think is best, my dear. But do get started soon. My intuition tells me that some sort of mischief is afoot, and my intuition is rarely wrong.
Ah, a visitor. Or another one of Lady Arabelle's associates. Either way, welcome to our island. Bacaro Valorous, founder of the Society of the Steadfast, at your service. I hope you find your visit to High Isle restful and profitable. Yes, a sudden squall of unusual intensity. It died out just as quickly as it arose. I noticed it off to the northeast. Dark clouds filled that part of the horizon. Perhaps our ships were delayed by the shifting winds, or decided to wait out the storm. I'm afraid that's privileged information. Suffice it to say, the cargo coming in on those ships is vital to the conference the Society of the Steadfast is sponsoring. Of course I do, but I learned long ago to have patience when it comes to such matters. Not every setback is a conspiracy, and not every delay is the act of a Daedric cult. Though, if you do learn anything of imminent concern, please let us know. High Isle is the primary island in the Sisters Archipelago. Technically, we're a Breton holding, but we try to behave as a neutral port. People from all over Tamriel come to experience the natural beauty of the island. Well, nobles mostly. Parts of it. But we have a rich history, and the same sorts of dangers you'd experience on the mainland. Bandits, pirates, wild beasts. And you might want to avoid our sister island, Amanos. It's a harsh jungle that has long served as a prison. Mostly political prisoners from the Empire at first. Later, rival nobles, pirates, murderers. The worst of the worst. Today it also includes war criminals and certain prisoners of war. Amanos Station is friendly enough, but the jungle is deadly. I'm a philanthropist. I started the Society of the Steadfast to give relief to those caught up in the suffering caused by the Three Banners War. We establish healing tents for the wounded, distribute food and water, and provide whatever aid we can. As Lady Arabelle said, that's not something we're ready to talk about. Not until the cargo from the missing ships is secured. After that, I'll answer any questions you have. I'll even proclaim the purpose of the conference from the town square.
Okay, well. Let's focus on the main quest for right now.
I'm a dockmaster, not a bloody mage. What does the lady expect me to do if her ships never made it to the docks in the first place? Should I be? Lady Arabelle suspects some sort of foul play, but not on my docks. Not a chance. Gonfalon Bay is safe. Everyone knows that. Trouble comes from the mainland, not from here. Of course, the waters to the northeast can be treacherous. The closer you get to Amanos, the more unpredictable the currents become. And storms constantly barrage the coast, not to mention sea elf pirates. A good captain knows these things. None of that would keep Lady Arabelle's ships from reaching port. Like I said, storms close to Amanos aren't that unusual. I doubt the ships we're waiting for would have sailed that far north. Just in case, I sent people to look for signs of wreckage in the shallows. I really don't expect them to find any, though.
Speak of the devil.
This is not good. Rigert needs help. Again. Why, it is you, bestest friend. I never expected to see you here on High Isle. This is most fortunate because I have a little problem again. I am large delegate, but I lost my scepter. That is what King Yoren told me. He said, Rigard, go to High Isle and be Ebonheart-backed cultural ambassador. And be large. Delegate and large. That is me. But I lost my scepter of office. I had it with me last night, but now I can't find it. Yes, I went out with delegates Tanilin and Olganash last night. We ate and drank like kings. I don't remember all that happened, but I spent most of my gold. And I lost my official scepter. Will you help me look for it? I can pay you a little. I've been thinking very hard, and it hurts. We should begin at the Ancient Anchor. That is where I went last night with the other diplomats. The innkeeper was angry with me this morning, but she might talk to you. Meet you there. They are delegates too. Tanilin is very important elf from Aldmere Dominion, and Olganash is noble orc from Daggerfall Covenant, who brings culture wherever he goes. I don't remember what we talked about. It must have been another diplomatic success. Must think again. No. We parted ways with great enthusiasm in street, just outside the Ancient Anchor. I went back inside, and I had it with me then. I need my scepter of office. I can't lose another one, or they'll dock my pay. Thanks to you, it is. Last time, you helped make the cultural exchange glorious success. So much success. King Yoren said we didn't need to send culture to High Isle. Then I told him you might be here to help again. He said I could come.
My goodness.
I hear these knights are robbing people and looting caravans. Someone ought to do something.
The good folk shook the bad folk side and told this tale to me.
Hail, friend. Have you heard about the band of robber knights that waylaid travelers on the road to Gonfalon Bay? I came to High Isle to trade, but getting goods from the interior has become a roll of the dice. A rogue band that calls itself the Ascendant Order. I thought they were only active on the mainland, but they're here on High Isle. Rabble-rousers and troublemakers, if you ask me. And now, I hear they're looting caravans outside the city walls. Not specifically, but I saw some fancy-pants nobles giving the dockmaster grief. Missing ships could mean anything. Storms, pirates, poor winds, worthless navigators. Try Sergeant Dane over there. He's with the Sisters Guard and knows a lot.
No. I'm sorry about that little scene. Some people are unbelievable. Welcome to the Ancient Anchor. What can I do for you? Oh, you're with this Nord? I'm not all that worried about what he left here. I'm worried about what he took. A night's worth of food, drink, and entertainment, all without paying. He and his friends skipped out on their bill. Like I said, they ate and drank all night in a private room. When I noticed it was too quiet, I looked in and they were all gone. Someone's gotta settle up. Your friend left his scepter? It'll do as collateral until I get paid.
You found a scepter. That is good. And I remember now. I wanted to pay the bill to impress the other delegates, but now I don't have the coin to do that again. We have to get them to pay their shares. I can't lose another scepter. Let me see. Tanilin didn't seem to be having fun, so I bought her a special drink. And then Olganash wanted dessert. I asked the man in the back for something sweet so my friends could have a good time. We headed back to our own lodgings after that. Oh yes, I am good diplomat, so I thought she would like something to remind her of home. After that, Tanilin kept asking for more drinks. We all laughed and had fun. We said goodnight just outside. She got in her carriage and drove off for home. We might have been arguing about where to get the best cake in Hrothgar. That made us want cake. But the man in the back room said he did not have cake. So I asked him to give me whatever he had for Olganash. I think Tanilin is staying at Steadfast Manor, a little way outside of town. She likes Lord Bakaro's gardens. Olganash rented a small house in Gonfalon Bay near the West Gate. Here, I'll be right behind you, when my head stops spinning.
I'm off duty, newcomer. Got a complaint? Take it to one of the other guards. We police High Isle. Ships that haven't arrived yet aren't our problem. Besides, we've got our hands full with these so-called Ascendant Order Knights. They're stirring up trouble all across the island. Just that they're little more than well-armed bandits. They've been recruiting the poor to bolster their numbers. Now they're robbing caravans while claiming they fight for justice. Honest folk don't hide their faces behind helmets and masks. They're malcontents. They go on about how the high and mighty misuse their power by squabbling over the Ruby Throne. It started out small enough, defying authority, inciting riots, petty sabotage. But now they're hurting people. Something else, newcomer? I'd like to get back to my drink. Ordinary bandits the Sisters Guard can handle. But when we send enough guards to meet a company of Ascendant Order Ravagers, these faceless knights just melt away. And if we don't send enough guards, then our guards don't come back. Might as well be. Most knights proudly display their emblems. They wear the colors of their house and paint family crests on their shields. These Ascendant Order knights never remove their helms and bear no devices. They could be anybody.
You're a new face. Must be here about the notice, am I right? Of course I'm right. If you need work and aren't too concerned about the risks, then we should talk. I assure you I'm a fully sanctioned representative of the Gonfalon Bay authorities. Oh, you misunderstand. I'm not the hirer, just an agent. More of an administrator, really. I make sure the job brokers are on the up and up. Speak to Waylode, Paris Plouffe, or Druid Pisca. They hire adventurers on a daily basis. Easy as piercing a gore apple with my tusk. If you prefer to work alone, go see Waylode. If you want to work as part of a group, then talk to either Paris or Druid Pisca. Here's a modest advance to show how serious we are about these opportunities. Remember, Waylode provides jobs you can handle on your own, while Paris and Druid Pisca deal in work that requires a group to complete safely. You'll be paid handsomely for every task you complete. I guarantee it.
You were the one who saved Cam Tamrith and killed Rieseljul? I hope you made him suffer.
You don't look like a salvager. Come to join up with those so-called knights who've been hanging around, did you? Pah! I'd rather go hungry than swear myself to the likes of them. Haven't seen anything sail by in the lock recently, and no new wreckage washed up today. But I've been keeping my head down. Those robber knights have been chasing off salvagers who won't promise to help them. They were recruiting, or at least offering the chance to earn a reward. They wanted people ready to haul in whatever came ashore. Several salvagers went with them. I wouldn't, though. What I find is mine. To a cave just down the beach. But I'd avoid it if I were you. Old Charbel nearly lost his head snooping around there. I don't know if they found what they were looking for, but I think they left a few knights behind to watch the shallows.
Away from me, stupid thing! Is it gone? Steer clear of Tor Drayok, stranger. Those strange motes are everywhere. I saw one of them turn a cow into a person. I'm getting out of here before one of them gets me. I'm not spending the rest of my days as a farm animal. I don't know. I was just trying to cut through the area around the old wizard's tower there when I spotted those strange motes. It was chaos. Unnatural things started happening, and then one of the motes started chasing me. No, not that I've ever seen. And I take that shortcut almost every day. The Magister who lives there and his Khajiit assistant, Ember, are nice enough. I hope they're all right. But I'm not crazy enough to go back. You look brave. Maybe you could?
I hope you don't mind me saying so, but you look like someone who's good at cleaning up messes. I've got a big one for you, if you're up for it. I'd pay you for your time, but I need someone quick on their feet. This mess is turning into a crisis. I was experimenting with a spell while my mentor, Magister Iran, was away, but the magic went awry. If it doesn't get dealt with, it's going to spread beyond this area and harm a bunch of innocent people. I can't fix it on my own. So I need help. I need to develop a counterspell. But first, the protective wards around the area need to be restored by someone other than myself, so I don't taint the magic. That's where you come in. Like I said, if you help, I can pay. Hold still. You'll need this unless you want to spend the next few hours as a sheep. Not as glamorous as it sounds. And here, take these crystals. You'll need them to restore the wards. The first one is in the meadow just up the hill to the north. Mostly they serve to keep errant magic inside Tordriak's boundaries. You know, the standard 3 points of protection thing. Unfortunately, my spell kicked those wards in the teeth. They're not protecting anything now. The spell I created has my magical mark on it, if that makes sense. There are certain types of magic that can be affected by their creator, intentionally or not. Messing with forces already attuned to you can have unpredictable results. Exactly. Magic is powerful and great and all that, but it can be pretty sensitive. Fussy, Magister Irin likes to say. And since my spell is already wreaking havoc across Tordreok, I'd rather not take any unnecessary risks while fixing it. The name's Ember. Well, technically it's a nickname, but it's all I use. I'm Magister Irin's apprentice. I think he regrets taking me on sometimes, but he's got a big heart. He saw that I had no formal training and told me to come here to learn. This is Tordreok. There's a big wizard's tower, you can't miss it. I've been living there with Magister Irin, plus a few people who keep up the grounds and the tower itself. All of whom have been affected by my spell, I'd guess. Here we are. I'm going to cast... That's one ward restored. Let's go fix the next one. It's in the glade just west of here. I really should have paid more attention to Magister Irin when he was explaining how these protective wards work. I should have paid more attention to him in general, actually. The next one is in the glade. It's just across the way to the west. Unfortunately, no. The wards are just to keep the unstable magic inside the bounds of Tordrea. That way, I can work on a counterspell without worrying about the original spell spreading. Magister Irin made sure I knew what they were and what purpose they served as soon as he took me on as an apprentice. He wanted me to be familiar with as much as Tordreac as possible, or at least the parts that keep it safe. Here we are. I'll make sure. Oh, you're a natural. Maybe you should have been Magister Irin's apprentice. The last ward is south here, inside the cave. This is the last one. Let's get this over with quick. That's all the wards. Let's talk outside. I need to figure out what to do next. Stupid moats! I know my rogue spell is to blame for most of the weirdness happening around Tordreok, but it almost seems like these damned moats are becoming dangerous. They're doing more than just mischievous magic. Ugh, fish biscuits. I need to figure this out. I'm not sure. The moats aren't new. They're always hanging around Tordreok. I think they're drawn to places like this. But there was nothing in my spell that should have made them act malevolent. And there are a lot more around than usual. Yes, I can make traps to contain them, but I'm still worried about their behavior. While I work on the traps, could you head into the tower and look to Magister Irin's things? He might have a book with more information about the moats. See if you can find anything in the tower about the moats. I'll meet you there and start on the traps.
This is ridiculous. I knew Magister Irin should never have taken in a mangy cat like you.
Relax, Huldressa. I'm working on it.
You better work fast, because when Magister Irin... What the... Oh!
All right. That was a little funny. You in here? Did you find anything useful about the moats? I finished the traps. Once we set them up, they should take care of the moats. Then I can sort out the livestock and hold Dressa, and at some point create a counterspell to fix everything for good. Did you learn anything useful? Oh, I read that one with the Wind Sorrow lady, right? What if my spell disturbed her and that's why the moats are acting up? That's troubling, and also a problem for future Ember. Let's focus on one thing at a time. Or two things, actually. The traps are finished, but the livestock and Hildressa are still a problem. I want to figure out a way to return them all to their natural forms before the illusion does any damage. Could you set the traps while I do that? Here, I'll mark some places to set the traps. They're in a pack by the work tables outside. While you do that, I'll figure out how to fix the livestock and Hildressa. Then I can work on my counterspell. Meet me by the livestock pens when you're done. Good luck setting up the traps. I'll meet you by the livestock pens when you're finished. All right, let's get you two back to your regular chicken selves. Ha! I knew it would work. Run along, ladies. You're back. The traps worked, didn't they? See? I told you I know what I'm doing. Mostly. Speaking of which, I think I figured out a way to return the livestock to their original forms. I made something. I know it looks like a spoon, but, well, technically it is a spoon, but I enchanted it. And I call it the Spoon of Undo. I just tested it on those chickens. It removes the illusions perfectly. Normally I wouldn't bother, but illusions can be disorienting and cause terrible headaches. I don't want any of the animals suffering while I come up with my counterspell. Oh, and Hildressa. I suppose I don't really want her suffering either. Here. Take the Spoon of Undo. If you could run around and fix the livestock and Hildressa, that will give me a chance to finally whip up this counterspell. By the time you're finished, I'm sure I'll have something figured out. Just look around for people making animal noises. I'm sure they won't be hard to find. And tell them I'm sorry when you change them back, would you? As for Hildressa, I'm all in favor of leaving her as a guar. Just kidding. Kind of. It sounds cute when you say it. It's a pretty simple reversing enchantment. It should counteract the magic from the moats and dispel the illusion. Basic stuff, not even I can mess up. Well, they're still animals. They might run around a bit, but I doubt they'll make it too difficult for you. They're not exactly geniuses. Personally, if I was a sheep and got turned into a human, I think I'd go off on an adventure. I wasn't trying to turn animals into people, I swear. I had a theory about animating the inanimate. One of Magister Irin's texts gave me the idea. That's probably why he locks so many of his books away, now that I think about it. Well, I'm hoping to avoid that scenario. But if it does happen, I'm not sure. He's an odd one. I'm too old for him to punish, and he's not really the type to dole out discipline anyway. I think he'd be disappointed, which is so much worse. I'll be in the tower working on the counterspell. Come find me when you're done.
that's disturbing.
Was I just a guar? This is all Emma's fault.
Fish biscuits. That wasn't right. So, I've run into a problem. I have good news and bad news. The good news is that I've nearly finished my counterspell, but I need to find a tome called The Mirrored Way to complete it. I know Magister Irin has it, but it's not with the rest of his books. That's the bad news. Because if the Mirrored Way isn't with the rest of his things, it's probably locked away in his arcane library. The library he specifically forbids me from entering. The tome I need has to be in there. Without it, I can't make the counterspell. Magister Irin has warned me not to enter his library 1,000 times. But these are special circumstances. There will probably be some magical traps inside meant to keep me out. So I'll need your help getting the book while I deal with them. Once we find the Mirrored Way in Magister Irin's library, I can finish my counterspell. I just hope the old man wasn't serious about putting something dangerous inside to keep me out. He was definitely kidding. Had to be. Come on, let's go. Not sure. I picked the lock on the place as soon as I figured out he didn't want me getting in there. He's since put up protections and told me to stay out unless I have his permission. I'm sure he's got some kind of ward or barrier set up. It wasn't hard. Mages like Magister Irin tend to think in very magical ways. They'll put magicked reinforcements over every inch of a place, but forget a few pins and a good ear can foil them. And to be fair to him, I'm a very good lockpick. Necessity. I wasn't exactly raised in the lap of luxury, not even in the lap of genteel poverty for that matter. You get good at things like that if you don't want to be hungry, or caught by guards or angry merchants. Follow me. The library is downstairs. Give me just a moment to pick the lock. All right, let's get in and out as quick as we can. I don't sense anything. Maybe the old man was bluffing. Fish biscuits!
Yeah.
This spell is specifically targeting me. I'll figure out a way down. You just focus on getting the book. That's it! You got it! Now, let's get out of here before I set off something else. Magister Irin really didn't want me getting in there, huh? I have to admire the dedication. I didn't know the old man had it in him. He had something to target me specifically. What a sneaky old goat. Good thing I had you with me. You managed to get the book, right? Let me see it. Let me take a look. No, not that. That would be bad. What about this? Oh, here it is. It's Amahan ist Exis, not Gahan Amexis is. Good thing I checked. See? That's personal growth right there. Two different arcane glyphs. They do entirely different things when written and pronounced aloud. The second one is what I need for my counterspell. Now, all that's left is to get to the old ritual circle and cast this. I'll need your help again. The counterspell should set everything right in Tordreyak. Things will be just as Magister Irin left them, and I won't have to face his furrowed brow. I'll need your help at the ritual site. Casting a spell this big is a two-person job. The old ritual circle is a place of power, and I'm going to need all the help I can get. I plan to draw on the magic there to help strengthen my counterspell. Magister Aaron told me about it. This probably isn't how he wanted to implement the lesson. Maybe? Old tales and myths always start from some truth at some point in time. The moats around here seem to be affected by more than my spell, is all I'm saying. I always expect the worst. I find it helpful. If luck is with us, maybe just some irritated wildlife we can deal with as we've done before. Or some of the bolder moats. But if there is some truth to the ancient tales, then maybe we find some sort of really cranky wind spirit. The ritual circle is just up the hill to the north. I'll meet you there. First, we need to set the ritual flames. There's 3 around the site. Light the 3 ritual flames here. I'll get the ones on the altar. Oh, here we go. It's done! The spell is set. Follow me. We should be able to see it materialize. Any second now. We did it! Come on, let's get back to the tower.
Used to work under these conditions. I was turned into a guar. A guar!
Of course, full dresser. I promise to address the situation.
See that you do.
Huldressa sold me out, didn't she?
Let me speak to your associate first, Ember. So, you were witness to the events here, and as I understand it, you had a hand in bringing them to an end. For that, I thank you. And if you'll indulge me, I do have a few lingering questions. What in the world happened? I don't know what I expected, leaving her to her own devices here, even temporarily. Ember and Trouble are old friends. I can still feel the repercussions of this spell gone awry, as you say. Do I have you to thank for rectifying it? I see. As trying as she can be, she truly is a talented mage. She can be impatient. Given her natural inclination to magic, it's understandable. I always knew I was perhaps not the best teacher for her. I took her in because I knew I couldn't leave someone as skilled and impulsive as her to her own devices. But I have neither the time nor aptitude to teach her properly. It's my own failing. Speak to her, would you? I must collect my thoughts. Don't worry. Ember isn't in any trouble. While I am not pleased about my traumatized cook, I must concede that everything is back in order and the consequences of Ember's magic weren't dire. Still, I must consider what to do now. I don't mean to give the impression that Ember is incapable of learning. That's not the case. She's a bright mage, one of the brightest I've ever seen. Everything I've taught her she's taken to like flame to parchment. But therein lies the problem. Well, just like a flame, Ember wants to devour everything around her. Her appetite for knowledge is ceaseless. That's good quality in a mage, but not necessarily one I'm equipped to deal with. By my own admission, I'm methodical, cautious, by the books. Exactly right. Ember needs someone who can keep up with her. Someone who thrusts themselves headlong into adventure so that she may temper herself and her magic beside them. Perhaps when I was younger, I could have been that for her, but not now.
Hey, you! Let's talk while Magister Aaron collects his thoughts. I thought Magister Aaron would be as mad as a wet dragon, but he looks amused. It's probably because he's wanted to turn Holdressa into a guard at some point. He just won't admit it. And the fact that we fixed it all before he got here helped. Well, I've been thinking. I'm grateful to Magister Irin, but sitting and reading about magic has little appeal to me. This whole thing just proved to me that I'm too restless here. I want to do magic, not just study it. Go on adventures, see things. I think it's time. I've been given good training here, but I still have a lot to learn. For me, the best teachers are curiosity and experience. I learn best by doing, so I need to get out in the world and continue my training. Ember the Sorcerer. I like the sound of that, but that can come later. First, take this. It's not much, but you deserve it. I think we made a good team today. If you ever need a sorcerer who has your back, let me know. We'd have some fun. Magister Irin, I'm grateful for your teachings and your patience, but I think it's time for me to move on.
The world is an excellent teacher for one of your talents, Ember. Do write me occasionally.
I should go pack my things. And say goodbye to Holdressa. Not a chance.
Well, let's see. Sorry if I don't do something about these, it's gonna annoy me. There.
I never used to fight this much, until I met you.
There's the one that defeated the corrupted... Seeking a commission with the Honorable House Dufort? We need able hands to rid the Sisters of a menace we've endured for too long. We are prosecuting a war against the Dreadsail pirate fleet, and the Admiral ordered me to gather as many capable fighters as I can muster for a landing party. Need about a dozen, all told.
That's gonna be some sort of trial or something.
A traveler. I thought those vile knights had returned. Forgive me. I must continue praying for the return of our idol. Without it, this tower's light will remain dark. This lighthouse is special, It's blessed by Kinnereth, the god of winds and sea. No fire serves as a beacon for nearby ships, but the divine light of Kinnereth herself. But without the sacred idol, the light cannot shine. Alas, the idol was stolen. Knights in unmarked livery broke in and stole the Kinnereth idol. I watched the scoundrels flee to the west with the sacred edifice. Perhaps, dare I ask, would you be willing to recover the idol for the Lighthouse, so I may restore the beacon? They may wear the garb of knights, but the ruffians who assaulted me carry themselves like robbers and outlaws. Whoever they are, they're dangerous. Be wary of them, and may the wind guide you. Bless you, traveler. Please understand, to my order, this is more than just a lighthouse. This beacon spreads Kinnereth's blessing across both land and sea, but only with the idol in place, so it must be returned. It is marvelous, is it not? This is actually the second beacon to stand atop Gonfalon Head. It dates back to the early 1st century. When I assumed my duties here, the tower was in poor repair. Dangerous, even. When Duchess Alea Dufort assumed her father's duties a few years ago, she ordered a complete renovation of the structure. I'm sure she wanted to protect trade in Gonfalon Bay, but she spared no expense in rebuilding the lighthouse.
I'm curious about what this is all about. Let's see. Well, I'll check this out at some point.
You return, and with the idol. Place it here, and I shall call forth its light. Mother Kinnereth, this traveler has set right the desecration of this holy place. Return to us your blessing, and let your light shine over the land and sea. I cannot thank you enough. With the idol returned and the light restored, we can ensure the safe passage of many a weary traveler. Is there any way a priest of humble means could repay you? A blessing, perhaps? Shortly after the lighthouse was pillaged, I spied 3 ships on the horizon. Then suddenly, the clouds darkened, and a terrible storm began to blow in. I lost sight of the ships after that. Perhaps they were simply blown off course? Aminos is notorious for its storms, but Kinnereth generally blesses High Isle with fair weather. I wonder, the way the storm swept in seemed unnatural, and it happened so soon after Kinnereth's idol was removed. The idol has little value outside the lighthouse. Its light does not shine in any other location. My order believes Kinnereth's light blesses High Isle. Why steal the idol unless the knights meant to revoke her protection? A troubling thought indeed.
Okay.
I can't believe you drank our entire stock.
May, where's your proof? Just because I woke up in a pile of bottles doesn't mean I'm guilty. Those could have been gotten there in any number of ways.
Hello there. Say, you look like the type who could go traipsing around dangerous areas in search of rare ingredients. Could I interest you in a job? There's coin in it for you, and the knowledge that you'd be bringing joy to many in Gonfalon Bay. My partner and I are purveyors and creators of fine drinks. Pilgrim does more drinking than creating, however, which got us into our current trouble. We were on the cusp of making a groundbreaking new spirit, then Pilgrim drank our entire supply. We need 3 ingredients to make another batch, and Hilgrim's in no state to get them himself. The drink requires flesh flies, a sister's passion flower, and a druid's bane mushroom. If I marked the locations on your map, would you gather them for us? Here, these spots should have the ingredients I mentioned. If you can gather them and bring them back, I can whip up a drink that's sure to make all the mainlanders empty out their pockets. So long as I can keep Pilgrim away from it. Pilgrim and I are always experimenting with different flavors and ingredients. Not all of them are successful, of course, but this combination in particular was exceedingly delicious. We stumbled upon something revolutionary. I'm sure of it.
It must be the flesh flies.
We've only just met, lovely stranger. I can't go giving you all our secrets just yet. Pilgrim and I have a special technique when it comes to the blending, but truthfully, we can't take all the credit. The local ingredients play a major role. The flesh fly wings add a bit of bitterness and body to the drink. The sister's passion flower gives it a lovely floral aftertaste and a lovely color. And that particular type of mushroom infuses a great deal of sweetness and heaviness to the mix. Well, you wouldn't know it by looking at him right now, but he's actually a very charming, intelligent, and passionate man. We fell in love over a bottle of Alto wine years ago, and discovered we both had a gift for concocting delicious libations. He makes me want to tear my hair out most days. But yes, we are. As much as he vexes me, he makes me laugh too. And he has incredible ideas. It was his notion to use the flesh flies to add a hint of bitterness to the drink. Just brilliant. Yes, this place brings in rich nobles by the bucketful. Or at least it used to before those delegates came around. But there are still enough gadabouts to take advantage of. People who will pay almost anything for a taste of something different.
Good luck! Oh, you're my hero.
Malakath is laughing his arse off.
Can you help me? There's been a terrible mistake. I'm with the Daggerfall Covenant diplomatic mission, but this guard doesn't believe me. I'm not what he thinks I am. Rigard, he got me into this mess. Last night after dinner, we were talking about our favorite places in Rothgar. He disappeared into the back and returned with a bag. He said something about getting a dessert for me. I left. On my way home, this guard stopped me. I told him what I thought about that, so he frisked me. It turns out the bag was filled with skooma. I didn't know, I swear. Can you talk to Sergeant Dupertus? I've got diplomatic immunity.
You'd better talk to the guard. Olganash won't be able to pay his share of the tab if he's in prison.
I'm sure Olganash spun you a sad tale. Criminals will say just about anything to avoid going to prison. He even told me he was a diplomat. Hope he's got a better story for the city magistrate. If I had a gold coin for every criminal who tells me he's got friends in high places, I'd be a wealthy man. Word of warning, Mainlander. Make false statements to an officer of the law, and you'll be in front of the magistrate too. I'll free Olganash if we catch the criminal who refined the moon sugar. There's a smuggler named Burjak Catalan who hangs around the Ancient Anchor. We're sure he deals in skooma, but we haven't been able to prove it. He's the criminal I really want. Follow Burjak Catalan and find where he keeps his contraband. I'll need you to bring me proof he's got skooma. We've tried to arrest him before, only to come up empty-handed. I saw Burjak in Gonfalon Square earlier. If you're in, start there.
You are very clever, friend. Just find Berjac Catalan's ill-gotten booty, and I'll get my scepter back. It's simple.
Sorry, I am weak to sea shanties, so I had to stop and listen.
Come on, just one more match. Give me a chance to win my gold back.
And what will you bet? That ridiculous nose ring? Find another racket, Bragas. Tribute ain't for you.
Heard all that, eh? Guifa's a palms-up card sharp. One of the best tribute players in town. But like I always say, if you want to take the measure of a grot, you've got to climb. That nose ring jibe was unnecessary, right? I'll get her next time. Sorin, right? She definitely has an eye for talent. Yes, I can tell you all about tribute. It's a card game, a scavenger hunt. Zen's price, it's practically a religion for some folk. You want fame? Gold? It's all there for the taking. Ah, fresh player. Excellent. First things first. You need to learn the rules of the game, and you'll need a couple of decks of tribute cards, of course. Find Razamad in the Gonfalon Gaming Hall. Tell him Bragas sent you. He'll get you sorted. Razamad's the game baron here in Gonfalon Bay. You won't find a kinder or more knowledgeable player west of High Rock. Not that he'll go easy on the mind. He expects the best from the players he trains. Trust me, I should know. Freeze bones. An introduction would be nice, wouldn't it? Call me Bragas. Professional gambler and semi-professional everything else. Aside from sailor, of course, I hate the water. The better question would be, what made you leave Valenwood? The answer, my friend, is debt collectors. Vigorous ones. Once I save up enough, I might go back, but I'm in no hurry. When a stiff breeze comes through, the sisters are really beautiful. Oh, Guifa, just a lover spat. She loves making fun of my nose ring, and I love losing money to her, apparently. Match made in Aetherius. Usually, no. Most players are in it for the joy of competition, but you know what they say? If there's an uncertain outcome, someone's got gold on it. I play a lot of unsanctioned matches. Putting skin in the game keeps things fresh. Aye, that big building there. Used to be a House Mournard villa, believe it or not. House Dufort seized it during the transition of the duchy, but got tired of paying for the upkeep. The Duchess sold the place to Razamad about a year ago. Well, we drink in there too. People need a place to relax, chum. The ancient anchor's fine for sailors on shore leave, but people looking for a really good time always come here. Plus, it serves as our tribute chapter seat. Yeah, a chapter is like a team of sorts. The Gonfalon chapter meets here. But we're wandering into the weeds a bit. Focus on the game first. We'll discuss the rest later.
Alright, let's learn about Not Gwent.
Greetings, my friend, and welcome to the Gonfalon Gaming Hall. Please drink and make merry. We have many strong players gracing the hall today. Lots of action. Tales of Tribute is free to watch, but far more fun to play. Do you play, Wayfarer? Then you have come to the right place. Tales of Tribute is a game of stories, some fantastical, and others all too real. Two players share their tales with decks of cards. The game is elegant and easy to learn, but it takes great effort to master. First, you will need 2 decks. Each deck represents a different story, a different strategy. Your opponent brings 2 decks as well. Once you and your adversary combine your decks, the game can begin. A shared pool, you see. A level field of play. Make your way to the beginner's lounge and find my associate, Bragas. Tell him Razamad approved an initiation match. He will lend you a pair of decks and teach you the basics. Complete this trial and return to me for your reward. Dear Bragas often strays, but never for long. His coin rarely holds out. He must be back by now, safe within the confines of the gaming hall where he can be supervised. Do not worry, though. Bragas is a fine player. He will teach you well. Bragas, yes. He loves the game in his way. I wish he exercised more caution. He often forgets how much he has to lose. But he's a bright lad, full of youthful energy and hope. That is more than I can say about most people in this world. Yes, of course. As Bragas no doubt told you, I am Razamad. I hold many roles and offices: Tribute Master, Game Baron, and Proprietor of this hall. I also lead our regional Roysters Club chapter, the Gonfalon chapter. Yes, the Roysters Club. It is a far-reaching organization that administrates all aspects of Tales of Tribute. They organize tournaments, publish new rules, sponsor chapters, and, most importantly, they manufacture the cards themselves. Anyone with a pair of tribute decks, a Game Baron sponsorship, and a thirst for competition, yes, complete your training, and it will be my honor to welcome you into the club.
Ha-ha! If it isn't my new old friend. Found the place easy enough, eh? Pull up a chair, have a drink. As long as you're buying, of course. I'm a little light in the purse at the moment. So you talked to Razamad yet? Oh, did he? Oh, I love it when we bring new players into the fold. Gets boring playing the same old salts day after day. We need new blood in here. Now, before we begin, you'll need these. 2 tribute decks you can borrow for educational purposes. You try to defeat me, of course. First to 40 prestige, or winning the favour of all the patrons, is the victor. Don't worry, chum. I'll explain that as we go along. And loosen up, eh? You'll do fine. I'll go easy on you. Right. The essence of the game is to buy cards to add to your play deck. Each of us will use our play deck to score prestige, until one of us gets enough prestige to win. Lots of cards, eh? The ones on your side of the table are yours. The ones on my side are mine. The cards in the middle are what we call the tavern. We each claim cards from the tavern to improve our play decks and earn enough prestige to win. You'll take the first turn. Let's both draw our starting hands. Each of your cards have a coin value, see? You can use their coin value to buy cards into your play deck from the tavern, the center of the table. Try to keep track of the value of the cards in your hand. Each card has a cost, a suit, and an effect. If I were you, well, this card here seems like the right one for you to buy with the coin that you have, so claim it.
Okay.
When you buy a card, you subtract its cost from your coin total, and you get the card. Then a new card replaces that card in the tavern. You still have enough coin to buy another card, so let's do that. Now you can't play a card you bought right away. When you buy a card, it goes into a cooldown pile here, see? You can see at a glance what card suits are in your cooldown pile. It looks like you don't have enough coin to buy any other cards, and there's nothing else you can do at the moment. When that happens, you signal that your turn is over. Any resources you have at the end of your turn will be cleared once your turn is over, except prestige, that is. Once your turn ends, you discard your cards and draw 5 new ones. You can start to plan your next turn while I take mine. That said, you should always keep an eye on what your opponent is up to on their turn. They might buy a card or take an action that will force you to revise your plans. So now, it's my turn. I'll control the table until I signal the end of my turn. See if you can figure out my strategy based on my actions. The cards you drew gave you both gold and power. Power has 2 uses. The first is combat, but it also turns into prestige at the end of your turn. Remember, earning prestige is how you win.
Okay.
Remember when I told you that your currencies get cleared when you end your turn? Well, power doesn't carry over between turns. But when you do signal the end of your turn, any power you have left over turns into prestige. Good to know, eh? See these little fellows? They're our patrons. Each deck comes with its own patron, and they play an important role in how the deck works. See? Each patron has something they want. A price, let's call it. They also have something to offer. A reward. Pay a patron's price and you'll get their reward. You have to pay the price all at once and you usually get the reward immediately. Try paying one of these patrons. Whichever one you choose to pay will offer you a boon. Just keep in mind, you're only allowed to pay 1 patron per turn. They can get a little jealous. The patron you just paid, notice anything different about them? They favour you now. All patrons start in a neutral bent, and then show favour to whoever pays them first. Of course, you can pay a patron that favours your opponent. If you do, that patron will become neutral. Pay them again on a later turn, and then they'll favour you. And here's a tip. If you ever can get all patrons on the table to favour you, you'll win the game. Even if you have less prestige than your opponent, just one more thing to keep an eye on. Alright, you need to draw new cards, but your deck is empty. Now we shuffle your cooldown pile, and that becomes your new draw pile. You might draw cards you bought last turn, as well as those you started with. Your cooldown pile is empty. That means all the cards you started with or bought during play are now in your draw pile. Right, it's my turn again. I'm going to draw some coin, use it to buy a card, and draw some power from my play deck, which will become prestige when my turn ends. Just like your turn, only, more experienced. Those cards you drew can trigger a combo. See how they have extra effects if you draw another card that matches their suit? Luckily, you bought cards with the suit you need to trigger these combos. Some of the most powerful effects on cards come from combos, and a card will tell you how much of each suit you need to activate its combo effect. Great players always try to trigger combos, so keep track of those suits. We're closing in on the end. I can tell by keeping track of the prestige we've earned. For this practice match, we're keeping the total small, but in a real game, you'll need more prestige to win. Ah, a grand victory! Well, maybe a little too grand. Go talk to Master Razamad and tell him you bested me. Just don't get cocky. Next time won't be so easy.
Yeah, okay. Don't know how I feel about that game. Probably just takes some getting used to, but...
You return victorious, yes? I hope you enjoyed the match. I have played countless games of both luck and skill, and truly, Tales of Tribute is the best by far. So, now that you've learned the rules, do you wish to continue your gaming journey? Now, you claim membership in the Gonfalon chapter of the Roysters Club, a fraternity of tribute players committed to fair play and stiff competition. As an official Royster, you will gain access to a host of opponents and decks of your very own. Oh, countless rewards! With each victory, you will rise higher in the club rankings. Do well enough, and you may even earn the right to challenge the club's founders, the creators of the game itself. So what do you say? Will you join us? Then, it is my honor to furnish you with your first pair of decks, and welcome you wholeheartedly to the Gonfalon chapter of the Roysters Club. May good fortune shine on you, my friend. I am eager to see you put those cards to good use. You joined the Roysters Club at an opportune time. Smaller club chapters are preparing for a series of tournaments, ours included. The contest will not begin for some time, though, so I suggest you get some more practice in the meantime. The gaming hall provides a wealth of opportunities for Roysters Club members. Why not look around and familiarize yourself with them? Bragas can make the proper introductions. Speak with Soren, too. She's another protege of mine. As in all things, the best way to improve is through doing. Set out and find new opponents. Win or lose, your skills will grow, and your strategies will sharpen. Once you establish yourself in the beginner's circuit, return to me for a reward. Remember, in these early days, winning and losing mean little. Regardless of a match's outcome, you must see every game as an opportunity to hone your skills. It may sound nonsensical, but sometimes losing is the surest route to improvement. I would be happy to. The tournament started informally. Premier players like myself and Talib Fells gathered in major cities to match wits and sharpen our game. The Roysters Club leadership caught wind of it and began sponsoring official events. Well, many of the players who participated in those early matches went on to form teams, which, in the fullness of time, became club-sponsored chapters. Now, those chapters compete against one another in groups. It is better to share a victory, yes? A grand prize, yes. The Roysters Club and city governments all contribute to a weighty purse. But in truth, the greatest tribute players compete for pride and glory, not coin. And the revels, of course. The Gonfalon chapter loves to celebrate. No, my friend, I have achieved all that I set out to achieve at the tournament level. Now, I prefer to observe, teach, and celebrate my pupils' victories. Mostly the celebrating part. With luck and determination, we may raise a glass to you someday.
Yeah, we're not doing that right now. Well, my cat is letting me know that it's cuddle time. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. We will continue our high adventure on the High Isles tomorrow. So look forward to that, and I'll see you all later.